Hello there, so my name's Redman. I'm very lucky to have this Gibson style U harp guitar here. This is a 10 bass style U. As you can possibly see by the orange tone of this, these are phosphor bronze and therefore all metal strings.
This is for sure a huge instrument at 19 inches at the widest point, though this one dates from circa 1913. It was not the oldest or largest Gibson harp guitar. The earlier glued scroll bridge model had 12 bass strings and was available from 1904 and 21 inches wide. This is circa 1907 you see me with here, and these were tuned chromatically descending from the lowest open string on the regular guitar neck, so that's an E flat down to a very low bottom E here, an octave lower, which is the same lowest note on the double bass or electric bass guitar. This is much lower in pitch than the 10 bass instrument I'm about to show you and explain why the tuning of it is my favourite harp guitar.
A lot of harp guitars, I personally find, when you go right down to E, it doesn't have the same resonance and tone that higher strung harp guitars have, and this is one of the reasons that I think that Walter Boehm really struck on the prize when he decided to abandon the fully chromatic descending from E flat right down to a bottom E tuning of the Gibson harp guitar. And his theory was that you have an open A string, an open E string, so they're two bass notes already. So you only need 10 more to have a fully chromatic bass. So you're going to get A flat, G, F sharp, F, E. Then you're going to get E flat, D, C sharp, C, B, and B flat. That's a good bass note. That's a tone higher than or a whole step higher than the bottom note of a bass saxophone, for example. A tone lower than the bottom note of a cello, for example. And the bottom note of a bassoon. But what having all 12 chromatic basses does for somebody like me, who's an improvising musician, is give me the flexibility to play in any key and never have to retune. And that appeals to me the most about this setup. And furthermore, it gives sympathetic resonance to any chord on the neck, because you have every string tuned to give overtones. Just going down the basses, I can show you what I mean. So we play an A chord. You know, here's the E, let's play an E chord. Obviously, no, that's going to resonate. An A flat or G sharp. G. F sharp. Just go down quicker now. E flat, which generally doesn't sound good on guitars, does it? 6-string guitars. Wherever. Sounds great. D. And so on. You get the idea.
I think the next advantage over a harp guitar that has sub-bass strings lower than B-flat I've just demonstrated is the smaller interval gap between the bass strings when playing higher up the guitar neck, as the bass strings in the 10 bass re-entrant chromatic tuning are higher in pitch, which gives a more homogeneous sound. I can demonstrate this larger gap between the bass strings and higher notes on the neck, as well as the quieter sympathetic resonance that the lower pitch bass strings have, because the overtones are higher up in the harmonic series, by showing you a clip of another original 12 bass lower tuned style U harp guitar as I mentioned earlier.
Tell you what, when you
I want to make sure it's on that video.
So when I play the style U, generally I'm going to be playing, like I said, with these metal strings. And this is going 13 to 56. The gauge is quite heavy. You know, quite loud, even with your fingers. Rotate the plectrum away. But the plectrum method developed from the banjo, really. Doing a plectrum turn in vaudeville and in the music halls was a novelty at the beginning. Caught on the guitar, and obviously once it became a lot more commonplace to string guitars with metal strings in the popular music world, obviously playing chords on a guitar and playing rhythm guitar in dance bands and later big bands, obviously it's all with the plectrum. That's enough about how and why I do that. This plectrum's about 1.5 millimeters thick. It's a very crisp tone, like you might have heard on my L4 guitar. Roughly speaking, this is a 56 on the B flat, and it starts about 42, I think. So only going down a semitone or a half step, minus the jump between the F and the E flat, which is kind of tough to get used to on this instrument. But I've been playing my 12 bass chromatic contra guitar for a while now, so I'm not a stranger to harp guitars with a lot of strings.